So welcome to Module 1. I'm going to share my screen and proceed from here. So Module 1 is Introduction and Signs of Problems from the Past. The idea is you want to get familiar, help identify if this instrument is going to be something that's going to help this person, so knowing what to look for. Incidentally, after you've used the instrument a couple of times, you may not want to see these long theory sections, and these triangles allow you to close some sections off. So the idea here is that it just kind of explains that you're wondering if this person has something in their past that they need to deal with. I do equate my work with being a car mechanic, where I'm trying to figure out where's the leak, where are the resources going. That the human brain, it's amazing how many resources we have. And when people are in trouble, it's often because some resource has a leak, it's being drained somewhere. Things like trauma and emotional conflict, I equate to being like a computer that has too many apps running, too many windows, and now the whole thing is slowing down. You're getting those circles that turn and turn. You don't know what's going on. And that's kind of like how people that have all this stuff they're carrying go through life. They're kind of, they zone out a lot. They're not paying attention. They say they're forgetting stuff. They're having accidents. So the idea is these are the kind of things we're trying to identify first. This also explains that I've created this instrument to be a tool, not so much heavy on theory. I find that a lot of the stuff out there is just so heavy on theory, and it doesn't offer enough things for like, okay, what do we do with all this now? How do I apply it to specific situations? So there is some theory throughout, but I try to get to the assignments as quickly as possible. So here's the first thing. Typical telltale signs that a disturbing past event is continuing to have a negative impact. So these are some typical things that you might observe or a person might be complaining about, that they're not getting good sleep, they're zoning out a lot, their memory is not what it was, something's going on with their sense of safety, checking locks a lot, just showing signs of a lot of fear. Something's up with their confidence. They might be very irritable, lacking patience. They might be lacking in moderation or balance. And at first, these things can seem very innocent. Someone says, "Oh, I'm binge watching on, all these episodes of some show," and maybe it's fine, but maybe something else is going on as well. Sometimes they're having an issue about their sense of self. They don't know who they are. They feel lost in life, trouble with relationships, parenting, again, the irritability, or just something going on with parenting or co-parenting of children. They could be having physical health issues. That's not uncommon in a lot of cultures. People won't even seek mental health treatment, but end up there because it starts as heart issues, stomach issues, diet issues, gastro, a lot of GI stuff is what brings people first. Migraine headaches are common. All sorts of physical health will generally get people to seek help way sooner than it would be to realize, gee, that thing that happened to me when I was 16 is still having all these effects. Something could be up with their nutrition, again, diet, bad eating habits. They could be missing work or school, other things. So people can write in. Again, I try to make this really flexible so that you can add things, send me feedback, we can expand it. And then this is another angle. These are more very negative. These are kind of the positive things that might be missing versus here's some negative things that might be happening. You might realize this family member is doing very harmful, impulsive things, spending money, all sorts of things. They might just be stuck in their life or career, recent college graduate. They might just have a lot of lethargy. They might just show a lot of fatigue or burnout, sadness, worry, isolation, irritability. So this just presents a whole list to go through, to be exploring like, oh yeah, they are, this person is kind, or I am given to self-pity, and so maybe I should go through this myself. I do encourage that if you're going to use it with someone, that it's not a bad idea to use it once on your own self, picking something from your past that you could make more peace with. Again, headaches and other pain, self-medicating, alcohol use, marijuana, cannabis products. Often there's some self-medicating going on. Again, unhealthy eating, either binging or refusing to eat. I skipped a bunch of these. Often people are having more injuries or accidents. They might be exhibiting shame or guilt, blame, self-pity. All right. A lot of people suffer from self-disgust, might be restless, hopeless, just getting to a midlife crisis. And this can happen as early as teenage years, just a lack of meaning or purpose. Okay, so the next section, and this talks about, well, if those things are going on, then it's good to question, well, how is the person coping? And there are achievement-oriented things that can be taken to unhealthy levels. So these are things like work, exercise, restricting food, working on weight loss, cleaning things. They can be innocent, or they could be taken to extreme levels, which may indicate something else is going on. Then there are neutral things. I mentioned TV watching, entertainment, games. Are they starting to feel embarrassed to admit how much they're consuming? That could be a sign. That could be that that's become some sort of coping mechanism for something going on in their lives. It may not be history related. I'm not saying this instrument is going to fit everyone. That's why we're starting with kind of trying to fit the pieces and see if this applies. And then there are coping mechanisms that are shame-inducing activities, things people don't like to admit, or will say that it's under control. Like, no, I drink, but it's not a lot. As soon as you start to have to moderate or, use words to not give people the wrong impression, then who knows what's really going on there. The cannabis, the overeating, purging, unromantic sex. So there are a lot of ways that people will use sexual excitement, stimulation, these kinds of things, autoeroticism, that if it's unromantic, it can be questionable. Like, okay, what purpose is it serving? Is it an avoidance of something in their past, something they're trying not to deal with? And it could be things like gambling, impulsive spending of a large amounts of money. Again, this is not an all-inclusive list. These are just kind of traditional little signs and things that might suggest something's going on. And a lot of these are used as distractions or brief alleviation, and yet, unfortunately, some of them are prolonging the problem and even worsening it, because they tend to also include isolating from other people, and some of these habits tend to increase friction in relationships. So it's kind of, the thing can snowball, and so we want to get on top of it. So this is just an opportunity to link or to list out what is the person currently doing. And again, if you're trying this on yourself, I would just try to be as honest as possible. Better to have too many things here than to leave something out. Then we review what the goals are here, that we want to do all these things. Are these things that your person wants to achieve? Do they want to achieve peace and serenity about something in the past? Do they want to reduce frequency or memories about something? Dreams, yeah, I'm having dreams. Or no, not that one. Are they having a lot of emotional or physical reactivity to reminders? It's like they hear, a car backfiring and they think it's explosives, or, are they easily triggered? Do they want to improve sleep, focus, or productivity? Are there things where somehow their management of today is being influenced by events from yesterday? Restoring a sense of balance about safety, trust, who to trust. A lot of times that really gets affected by past events. Our ability to function socially, including with intimacy, can be very affected by how we were treated in past relationships, which suggests you would want to use this tool to get to a better place with that. Has the person withdrawn from activities they used to like to do, or do they now go out of their way to avoid crowded stores and amusement parks and things, where concerts that they used to like to do and now can't go? And it's not just them, but their kids, other people are kind of the suffering from this person's situation. Again, I mentioned dependence before in the coping methods. There could be an unhealthy dependence on food or entertainment, liquids, drugs, busyness, video games, all sorts of things to explore here. And then this is for getting life back on track and improving relationships. They don't have to have all these, but if they want a few of these, then you're on the right track with whether this instrument could help. Then we look at why do people hesitate? And this was developed looking at some interventions for panic disorder, for other conditions that involve a lot of anxiety. And I incorporated it and found that in trying this out with veterans and with other people, college students, these were the typical ones. So there's often a belief that, man, if we go into the past, I just won't be able to handle it. And this could be, someone could believe this fully or 75%. You know, I'm afraid I'm going to start crying. And once that starts, I'm just not going to be able to stop. So I better never open that door. Then I'm going to become too emotional to fulfill my responsibilities at work or home. People feel, man, I hate all those feelings. I'm not able to breathe. I don't know what's going to happen. I might have a heart attack, or, you know, most people honestly don't believe that. I'll lose control. Yeah, I'm kind of afraid. I don't know what I'll do. I'll do something angry or violent. I've had quite a few people say that that is an actual fear, that it's like, because when they recall those events, they get so angry at themselves. They had a buddy commit suicide or some horrible thing happened, and they really worry that they're going to do something violent, either to themselves or to someone else. So that it has made them hesitate to get help. I will go insane. A lot of them laugh and say, well, gee, I'm already there, so I'm not worried that that's gonna happen. I'll embarrass myself. Yeah, there's gonna be embarrassing work. I'll end up dead. I've had some people say that. Now, as they fill that in, this is keeping score. So we got a 21 on that, and I call that the fear of harmful consequences score. We're gonna see that again later. So it's normal that if you have some number in there that you're gonna hesitate, or this person has been hesitating. But the key thing I'm suggesting is that all those might be rumors, and they may not be true at all. You might actually be able to handle this kind of work, or the person you're helping. And so it's a shame if those things turn out to be false, and yet they've kept a person from just addressing this the way they would have some injury, some other thing that they could have healed from by now. I really like to emphasize this throughout the program, that the presence of fear does not confirm the presence of danger. Just because I feel afraid doesn't mean I'm in danger. And sometimes people say, but I have this sixth sense, it's this feeling on my neck. And people that have that usually have that way more times than anything bad happens. Like with veterans, they would say, I knew something bad was going to happen that day. I was like, but come on, you were in a war zone. Didn't you have that feeling every day, twice a day, 10 times a day? And the number of times it was fulfilled was actually very small compared to the number of times the feeling was there. And that's very important to learn to start keeping score on these, I call them predictions. Something in your brain is predicting some damage, some harm. And so often it's wrong, and the thing is quite manageable. Big things do happen, but not to the extent we expect them to happen. All right, so the idea is that we can overcome these obstacles. All right, so that brings us to the end of module 1, that we're getting ready to go into the next module. So chances are, if you're clicking along and finding a lot of things apply, then you should continue into module 2, which is going to get into reducing fight or flight reactions. I do think it's important throughout the program to give us feedback, to give yourself feedback, to fill this out on things you're learning, things you hadn't thought of, and again, saving it. And ultimately, I think it would be great to submit this later, because when you hit submit, you get an automatic email of all your responses. And so boxes like this allow you to keep some notes. So now I'm going to go ahead and proceed to module 2.